go on now to the next phase. There are 2 questions that you can see posted on the screen, and each of the tables has been allocated one of those questions, which, sorry? Yeah. Oh, sorry. We're going to ask you, I think, probably to look at both questions on each table. Take maybe about 30 minutes to do so, and come back then with a considered response to both of them. We're going to check all of your answers, and we're going to see whether you get more than 40%. 40% is the pass. So to start with, we hope to get a discussion going on this. I'm going to ask table 10 to give us the response to the questions on the screen, and then sort of we'll widen out their response for discussion among the other tables, and maybe spend about 5-10 minutes on it. So table 10, do you have a spokesperson to answer the questions?
Yeah. Okay, and my name is Paul Sexton, Skeg Limited. I'm a structural engineer, and I've been appointed here to speak on behalf of the rest here. We have a mixed group, some M&Es, QS, and some constructors. But the first question, I think the biggest block at the moment is the definition of BIM, because BIM says BIM means different things to different people. And even as Chris said at the end, that the UK, there's a tender in a contract saying mandating the use of full BIM. Well, what's full BIM? For a contractor, it's different from a consultant or a structural engineer. The other thing is the cost of implementation, the cost of the software, and over time, particularly for smaller practices where it's a significant outlay, particularly when fees and everything are tight. So financial support from different sectors would be big help. The other thing, a blocker, is the industry is not ready in the creation of families, the creation of objects, generic objects that people can use, so everyone is nearly recreating their own. And then the biggest thing, blocker, is that cultural mindset that everyone is in this traditional silo thinking of how they're working. On the second question, it really comes down to contractor or consultant. My own personal view is that everyone should be in a more integrated environment, and perhaps a design build. What BAM have done there is they're basically creating that environment and driving that to allow people to collaborate freely. Otherwise, maybe I know in the US the contractors are taking the lead, so perhaps it is the contractor. I don't have an answer for that.
Thank you. I think you raised the issues rightly there. Interestingly, the very first issue, what do we understand by BIM? Up to relatively recently, I thought it was Bordishkivara. But obviously it means a lot more than that. Maybe we might get some contribution from some of the tables on what the industry should conceive BIM to be, and sort of what are the limits, if you like, kind of on what we think its application will be. Do we have maybe any other table who might take up these issues? Do I see table number 3 there?
Thanks. One soundbite that I could repeat is whoever sees the benefits could well become the main driver and adopter, which confirms Chris's assertion that contractors are the best place to coordinate it. But I think one thing that we were agreed on was that it really requires a change in mindset and a willingness to adopt a different process in relationships between the parties in construction. I'm sitting next to a quantity surveyor, actually, and from my experience, when a quantity surveyor gets drawings from an architect, this is two-dimensional drawings from an architect, an engineer, and a mechanical electrical consultant, and starts to measure it, he, I think, or she is in the best place to actually detect clashes, because the number of discrepancies that come up between the drawings at that stage in the measurement process is quite extraordinary. And Navisworks, from what I understand, does that now. Really, I think one of the key points, I think, is actually selling it to clients and convincing them that it's going to save time in the commissioning process, and it's going to give them benefits over the whole life of the building in terms of maintenance and operation of the building. Thanks.
Anybody prepared to take up that point and develop it a bit further, maybe? Steve?
Just a bit about clients, really. Most of the clients that I know, certainly property developers, and we do our own property development, and our property people are interested in a number of things. The worst part of what they do is actually having to build a building. They spend a lot of time looking at feasibilities on sites, spend a lot of time with designers creating the value of that building, and I'm firmly of the belief that 90% of the value of a building is created at design stage. And what my fellow director tells me all the time is, I wish we could do without this mucky bit, you know, where you have to go and build it, because that's where I get all the bloody problems. So in a sense, what I'm saying is that clients are clearly important, but the industry needs to take this up, and I'm not, whilst UK government are dictating, I think this is something that the industry should sort out for itself, and we have to take responsibility and not expect a client to say that you will. Some clients are, as I said earlier on, but I think it's important that we take the responsibility for sorting the industry out and improving it. Clients are important. They pay the bills, and we give them a building at the end of the day. But we need to deliver it. It's not. I don't think it's clients' responsibility to drive change. Just one other thing on the first question on consultants. I mean, we all understand how difficult these current market conditions are, and it's quite difficult to make a decision if you haven't got any work. But there's a number of consultants that I know, small practices, and there's one architect in particular in London who started off with just four people, quite a small practice, and decided that they were moving into Revit. So they invested in Revit, and they've built that practice, even in these difficult times, up to about 15 people now over a couple of years. And they say they can do things 30% more efficiently than they were using the old methods, if you like. So there's a business case for them and for everybody else to say, well, I can do things more efficiently, I can become more competitive, and in this market, that's absolutely vital.
Now, do we have any other contribution? I don't see. Yes.
I just wanted to come in on the point of the definition of BIM, and sometimes I don't like the word BIM because it sounds like something new, and actually it's nothing new. It's buildings. We've been dealing with buildings for a long time. It's information. That's what we do all the time. We're exchanging information about those buildings, and maybe the word modeling is the most difficult word, but a QS preparing an estimate is a way of modeling. An architect drawing a drawing is a way of modeling. So it's actually what we've all been doing in the industry, building information modeling all the time. It's just we're doing it better. We can do it better using technology. So It's really nothing new. It's just let's improve the way we do things. Is my opinion.
Yeah, I take that point because I was wondering as we were looking at the screens and hearing about all this marvelous technology and no new way of doing things, and I said to myself, how did the Romans ever build the Colosseum? Certainly no attic had not even a slide rule, but they succeeded, and I believe in a very short period of time, and the building is still there. So maybe this is the time to wind up proceedings. For me to say that it was a pleasure to be here and to be asked to chair it, to say that the CIF are very much behind and support these developments. It's something that the generality of our members haven't engaged in yet to the extent that we would like it to be. We'll see if we can address that, and I've been talking to Alan maybe in terms of talking directly to some of our members. We're delighted to support it. I do, of course, understand the importance of the sponsors in all of this. You've seen their names. I won't call them out, but it wouldn't happen without them. And finally, maybe before thanking you for your attention and for being here, I'll hand over to Alan, who wants to say some words.
Thank you very much, Don. Just on behalf of my fellow directors, the CITA team, and the wider membership of the Alliance, I'd like to formally thank our chair, Don, for doing an excellent job this morning, and to our three speakers, Chris, Mark and Adrian, for three very insightful presentations. Thank you very much. I suppose the message I take away this morning is that there's an opportunity for everyone, not just for contractors in regard to BIM, but I see, I suppose, as a quantity surveyor, more particularly as an educationalist, I see the big challenge is education and training. That we need to upskill the industry to be ready for, the big moves or the big switch over to this new process. If I could make a couple of sort of short announcements in regard to key dates and key events that are coming up over the next couple of months. The Society of Chartered Surveyors of Ireland are hosting an event in Bolton Street on the 14th of June, focusing on BIM and the quantity surveyor. And it'll be a morning session, and a number of vendors will be present showcasing their products. I only this week made a presentation to a group of senior quantity surveyors in Dublin, and the message there was that quantity surveyors don't need to model, but they need to be able to receive and work with model information in order to produce more timely estimates. And also the other message was that what you're pricing is the project, not the model. The process of the work that quantity surveyors do isn't going to change with this new process. So that's the 14th of June, and you'll see details on the Society of Chartered Surveyors of Ireland website and on the DIT website, and we'll be pushing out information as well. You can also download that information on the new app. The app is free, funded by Enterprise Ireland and SkillNet. So we've got, event information, news, members directory, technology directory, all the software vendors are there, and also our training courses that we're offering. The other date for the diary is the 25th of June. Many of you will be aware that the CIOB are celebrating their 50th year in Ireland, and they're holding the Global BIM Conference in Dublin, and CITA are making a contribution to that also. And 2 days later, we have our 6th event, which will be here on the 27th of June. And what we're doing is, midway through the year, we're giving the vendors a platform on the 27th of June. So we're going to hear from these people as to what they could do to help toolkit or upskill the industry. The focus is going to be on education, upskilling, and tooling requirements for BIM. The vendors are a very, very important component to mobilizing for BIM. They have excellent pieces of technology, and we want to hear from them perhaps what the latest product release they have. We want to maybe see what it is they're going to do to support, in particular, education. I know we're doing a lot in DIT. You'll hear on the 25th of June, 14th of June, sorry, all about DIT or BIM at DIT. But also we'll hear from other colleges from around the country as to what they're doing as well. I just wanted to maybe say a few words about training, the training courses that we're offering in CITA. Obviously, our most formal training program is our master's program. Currently, we have 3 of the main contractors in Ireland having a representative person on the master's program. We're also introducing in September 3 new level 9 BIM modules. Sustainable BIM, Sustainable BIM, and we're introducing BIM protocols and standards module, and we're also introducing a module on data set management and BIM. So what we're doing is we're reacting, I suppose we're learning through this series about what the important issues are and building into that program compatible modules. The recruitment for September is steady. Carol and I are working hard to obviously try and attract more students onto it. We've signed up a student in Australia just the other day, so it doesn't matter to that student that they're 7 hours behind. They're still going to engage on the program. So we would encourage any companies that are here, particularly the contractors, as this is the day that there's quite a few of you here, to seriously consider putting someone within your business on that program, because they can then bring that education and training back into your business and gear you up in BIM. Obviously, there's also other more informal programs. Yes? Yeah. 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 It's part-time, 2.5 years. It's done online, and the lectures take place on a Monday and a Wednesday evening. And if you miss the lectures, you can always dial in and watch the lecture at a later date. One final announcement is one of my students in Bolton Street, Simon, I'm not sure if he's still there, is doing a survey on BIM and design and build. So what Barbara might do is give you a copy of the survey. If you could consider maybe completing it, and before you leave, that would be great. If you have some time, that would be useful. So other than that, I'll bring the proceedings to a close and look forward to seeing you all later next month. Thank you very much. Thank you.